as I was saying, Philip, do you know what we've got to do first?
I don't know. What do we have to do first, Dwayne?
We need to jump down the rabbit hole. Let's go. Welcome, Philip. We are here.
Bit dark.
In the rabbit
thank
hole.
you. Actually, it's very light because we're recording in daytime again.
We're doing lots of those lately. It's very strange. Very strange, I can tell you. But I was actually talking with you yesterday about this rabbit hole topic, so you know what's going to come.
I know. It's a pre-warning.
I know. It's very strange. So I've given you some time to think about it, which is not fair. It's not as much fun for me when you've had time to think about these things.
I forgot what it was, though. I remember as you tell me, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, so I told you and you just completely disregarded what I said and didn't think about it for the next day. Anyway, here we go.
Didn't disregard, but certainly didn't think.
Right. Here is the question for you. Do you base your listening on reviews?
Oh, I remember now.
Very often.
No, I deliberately do not listen to or read reviews of anything I see. So I don't look at reviews for movies, for TV shows, for anything. Often you'll pick up gossip and chat about what people like, but I will not actually go and read reviews. I tend to find I just don't need them. Either they're going to say what I already think when I see it, and so I don't need to hear it, or they're going to disagree with what I think, and I don't care then what they think because they're wrong, because they've got a different opinion. So I avoid reviews. I don't avoid them, I just don't bother. So, I mean, occasionally something will pop up on Twitter, but I'll never click a link to a review. Doctor Who magazine reviews after the event. If I've watched something or listened to something, I often then will read. I mean, the hot takes and things that happen after some of the Doctor Who episodes, I like going and listening to what people have to say. But I would never listen to something first. So I know that the Doctor Who show, they did the hot takes on The Mandalorian. I hadn't finished watching it, so I didn't listen to it until I'd finished watching. Because I just want to see it first, and I want to see it fresh with my thinking. Gotcha. So yeah, no, I don't listen to reviews. I don't watch them, read them, listen to them at all. What about you?
Well, sometimes I do. And the reason I raised this subject today was because of a release that I've had for over 12 months, and I'd put off listening to it initially because I was put off by a negative review. And that release is also what I'm going to recommend, and that is Space 1999 Earthbound. And I'd seen a review from someone who said it was a real letdown from the first box set. It was, politically skewed in one direction, which was something this particular reviewer didn't like. And not that I am too worried about political points of view, but I just didn't want to be. I felt that there's a lot of preachy political showcasing in a lot of entertainment, and I thought, Doctor Who isn't immune to that either from time to time. And I just thought, I don't want to. If this is what it's going to do, then I'm not going to listen to it. And I put it off. And then subsequently more releases came out and I forgot about it. And because the new Space 1999 has just been released, I thought, well, I better catch up on the last one. So I was kind of didn't want to do it. And when I got into it, I discovered myself that it was a fantastic release. It was certainly not politically one-sided. It had different political points of view, and it was presenting them in a way that were palatable, that were not preachy. And I thought, why did I listen to this review and let me put it off in the first place? I could have enjoyed this 12 months ago. So that's the effect that reviews had on me. I don't know if it has it on you, our listener or viewer. But it's good for you, Philip, that you don't let yourself even test the waters of reviews like that. You sort of don't let yourself be sort of persuaded by anybody before you go in. So yeah, I have a tendency to look at reviews from time to time. I try not to let them colour my view, but in this case, I did let it colour my view, and it was a mistake.
So as a kid, did you get swayed by public opinion? What the other kids thought around you? Did you?
Well, I was a Doctor Who fan in the 80s, so obviously
no.
not.
Maybe you just didn't talk about it then. Yeah, no. I don't read the blurbs often. I mean, maybe when Big Finish makes an announcement months before something comes out, I'll look to see who the writers are. And I might have a quick scan of the one or two sentence bio when something's being first mentioned. But when I get a release, I don't look up the actors. I don't look up anything at all. I just like to come really fresh. And then at the end, I'll go back and go, oh, were they in it? And I get surprises by who was in the cast. And often I'll pick writers and directors along the way now because I'm listening to such a lot, and I often will pick voices. But I like to come to a story totally fresh, knowing nothing, and then just falling into it. And then, of course, forming my opinion, what I think of it. Because, I'm so arrogant. My opinion's the right one anyway. So why would I listen to anybody else?
That brings me to our next question. If people shouldn't be persuaded by opinions and reviews and things like that, why should they listen to us?
Because we, once again, I'm always right. So you want to listen to what I have to say. No, we deliberately, we are cautious about what we do and don't review. The stuff that we don't like, we don't talk about. And so if there's releases that people may have worked it out by now, maybe they haven't. We can't possibly talk about everything that comes out. We haven't got time. But there's also stuff that comes out. If we don't particularly like something, we just don't talk about it. I was raised by my mother to, if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. And so often there'll be some releases we just don't talk about because we haven't particularly liked them. But also, both of us, I think, always try to find the good in a story. And we try and give an overview of a story without making a savage critique. I think a lot of reviewers find their worth and fulfillment by finding the fault. Whereas I'd much rather listen to something and go, well, this is what I really appreciate it. And I think we often say, too, that if you like this sort of story, you'll like this sort of story. So we often do comparisons between stories rather than actually say, and I also think we're very clear in terms of this is what I like. And often when we talk about that stuff, we'll say, this is something that I like, this is something I don't particularly like, but we'll explain what it is so people can make their own choice. I don't think we ever come down on a hard line. I don't think. Maybe other people will say, why? So why do you think people should listen to us, Dwayne? Or shouldn't they?
I have wanted to come down hard on a couple of occasions, but you've talked me out of it successfully, Philip. And I think you've given the reasons. So,
yeah. And there have been, so there are times when we have savaged something and talked about it, and then we go back after and say, no, we don't want to put that out. Because, recognizing...
But I'm thinking immediately of Sapphire and Steel. I wanted to do a Sapphire and Steel show. I love it. You don't. And I think it's good to get those contrasting views between the two of us, people who are friends and who can continue to be friends even though we like different things, which is an interesting thing that you actually commented on that at our live events. We did a rabbit hole topic at our last event with Sophie, and you said at the end of it, it's nice to see fans with differing opinions being able to be civil about something and disagree about things and just express their view without getting shut down or cancelled or whatever else. And I think that's where the internet is a bit of a problem for people's opinions. If you don't share those opinions, you could quite easily be shut down. So I just think a lot of the things that are said on the internet, you would never say in person. So we like to keep it a more in-person kind of experience.
Yeah, yes, I agree.